The People's Choice Awards are next Tuesday, and Kim Kardashian, she is set to receive the Fashion Icon Award. And she's definitely had some looks that grab people's attention over the years. So here to talk about those styles is stylist Heather Newberger. Hey, Heather, happy Friday to you.
Hey, you too. Happy Friday, Natalie.
Okay, so some people might think this choice may be a little controversial. Would you agree that Kim is or is not a fashion icon?
Well, I think it's really important to look at what is an icon and how do we talk about icon and iconography sort of in our world, and especially in relation to fashion. So we're talking about someone like Kim Kardashian. I had trouble kind of putting this segment together because personally, I'm not necessarily a fan of all of her looks or necessarily kind of the brand that she's putting out there. When we're talking about fashions and trends, something that Kim Kardashian has done that really no one else has sort of recently in our time is really created trends. She sort of started in this place of not really having sort of a strong fashion sensibility or one that kind of people would really lean towards, kind of really sticking within trends and kind of like hyping them up. But now she's actually creating trends that we're seeing sort of permeate our entire world. And I think that's really important to look at when we're talking about what it means to be a fashion icon these days.
So how would you say throughout the years her style has developed?
Well, I think we can kind of go space by space and talk about, back in 2006, when we're looking at her in, what are considered current trends of the time, but they're kind of terrible. I wouldn't necessarily look at that shirt dress and say, I wish I could put that on. 2006 was a dark time for fashion, and Kim was playing within it, but it wasn't necessarily what we would all think of as being the coolest, most forward thinking. But then we kind of get to 2011. She gets together with Kanye and sort of levels up her fashion game. She kind of starts thinking about what I like to call her nude interlude, which really begins in 2014, which is kind of interesting to think about when we look at when nude became a popular color, which didn't really happen until sort of 4 or 5 years later. So that's kind of the beginning of Kim's kind of fashion iconography status. She's sort of creating looks. People are kind of transcending those and kind of they're sort of making their way down the fashion pipeline. But then we kind of break into 2014 in the quote unquote iconic break the internet photo that I think when everyone thinks of Kim Kardashian, this is the moment. This is when we all said, oh, wait, maybe Kim is a little bit more than just a celebrity. And she's someone who can actually, quote unquote, break the internet. But then we move over to, the 2016 VMAs, and she's really confident in this sort of sheer dress. It's really beautiful. It's something that we're seeing a lot now and at the time. And then she really actually gets a lot of best dressed nods sort of for this look. And again, kind of moving her slowly and surely towards that fashion icon status. But from there, we move on to her work with Skims. I think that in 2018 really changes things. We start seeing Kim in so many more body contour looks, really kind of feeding into that Skims brand, popularizing it over time, and not only just speaking to who she is as, someone who's creating looks within fashion, but also someone who is creating a popular brand that can be used and accessed by all, which is a really interesting way when we're talking about icons within the fashion industry, sort of in an accessible way.
I think one of the most memorable looks that I think when I can say she was a fashion icon, the Met Gala where she wore the dress that looked like it was absolutely soaking wet. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. And I think that dress is something that we'll never forget. And what's so interesting about that look specifically, which is from 2019 Met Gala, is that it actually really hit some of those moments. Right now you're seeing her look from 2013 when she's wearing Givenchy for the Met Gala. And her Met Gala looks specifically are really where we see Kim Kardashian kind of enjoying her style and really kind of reveling in it. So where this look wasn't necessarily something that kind of took people by storm, it is something that people really responded to and had a lot of feelings and thoughts about. But then we kind of move over to that other, Met Gala look, which is that kind of soaking wet, nude look that's just so beautiful. And again, really kind of brings us back to that whole idea of, Kim is playing in the nude. She's playing in all of those sort of different kinds of fabrics. And her Met Gala looks really kind of accentuate what she's doing on a day-to-day level. So this by Mugler is just such a beautiful, interesting dress that really kind of takes her own personal style to the next level. But ultimately, it is that 2021 Balenciaga all black look that I think really takes Kim Kardashian and makes her an icon. And what that means is that she is making such a strong fashion statement that is so polarizing. I mean, people were talking about this look for days on end. And that really has to do because there's no logo, there's no pattern, there's no face, but we know exactly who that is. I think that that's what really makes a fashion icon is, remove everything and we still know exactly who that person is behind it all.
Yeah, when you put it like that, actually is something that people, they had their jokes about it, but you're right. She was anonymous, but she's not, all at the same time. All right, Heather, as always, we appreciate your takes on everything fashion. We'll see you again here next week. And then you guys, every Friday, we're talking fashion with Heather, so make sure you tune in. And in the meantime, you can follow her on social media at Heather Newberger on Instagram. She also wrote a book that you need to get that's all about fashion. It's called How to Date Your Wardrobe.